Alright, what's going on today, YouTube? Welcome back to your favorite cyclist YouTube channel. This week, we're going to be installing this cool little chain keeper onto my daughter's bike. But before we get into today's video, if you are new to my channel, make sure you head down below, hit that subscribe button for me. If you already are subscribed, make sure you hit that bell icon right next to that. That way you get notified every time I upload. That way you don't miss any of these awesome cycling content on this channel. So today, we're installing this cool little chain guide here. This guy, I don't even know what brand it is, but we picked it up for super cheap. And essentially replacing this original monstrosity on this 20-inch kid's bike here. So this is the Specialized Hotrock 20 that my daughter just got. And it comes with this, it comes with like an essential downhill style chain guide on here. That's a little bit excessive, I feel like. It makes tons of noise, has a ton of resistance to it. I don't feel like it's very kid friendly. So we're doing a bunch of upgrades to this bike, including we're changing the whole drivetrain out on here, which will actually give us kind of a clutch derailleur on here. So I'm not super worried about chain tension on here. We're gonna get rid of this current chain guide on here. We're installing this little tiny guy on here that should do a lot better. Now, normally I'd say let's install a narrow wide chain ring and we'll be set to go. With her current crankset on here, it is a non-replaceable chain ring, and it is not a narrow wide. So we kind of got to figure something out that works really good. So I picked this guy up for like 10 bucks or something, and we're just going to stick that guy right over that chain, help keep the chain on and not drop chains, hopefully. So let's go ahead. We've got to get this crank arm removed. We've got to remove this side of the bottom bracket, and hopefully then we can pull this chain guide off. We also got to remove our chain as well. So let's go ahead, let's get up close to the bike, start removing the chain, and then we'll start pulling stuff apart to install our fancy little new chain guide here. Alright, so first things first, we gotta get this chain off of here. So this chain happens to have a quick link right here. It's this link that looks a little different and has slots in it. So I got my quick link pliers here, and we're just going to go ahead and flip those guys in there, push them together, and pop that chain link apart, just like so. We're all set. I'm gonna pull these two pieces out of here. We're not putting this chain back on, so I can save those off to the side. From there, we're just gonna pull our chain all the way out of here, just like so. And if you're gonna keep your chain, obviously, you wanna make sure you don't trash this. In our case, doesn't matter. All right, so from there, we're gonna go ahead and we need to take off this little cover on our crank and see what kind of bolt. I'm assuming it's actually a, there we go. That just sprayed me with water. Your mileage may vary based on the size, but in this case, we got a 14mm bolt in here. So we're just gonna go ahead, push opposites here, try and make the bike not move, hopefully. There it goes. All right. Go ahead and unscrew this guy all the way. There you go. So you can see what was in there. That's a little 14mm bolt. Holds the crank arm onto the spindle there. From there, we're gonna go ahead and grab our crank arm puller. So we got a little crank arm puller here. This guy's just going to screw right into our crank arm. We need to make sure we get some good thread engagement on here. And then tighten this guy up here. Then in the case of mine, we're going to go ahead and grab an 8mm Allen key, just like so. And we're just going to essentially just tighten that up into a crank. We're going to try and push both of these down together to get a little more leverage out of it. A little tough because this bike does not want to stay in place up here on the stand today. There we go. Okay. There we go. Tighten up. It should pull it right off of our spindle there. Oh, there you go. You just a standard bottom bracket tool. This is the BBT-32. We got here, fits right in there, and we're gonna have to yeet this guy off somehow. Let's see here. Get that guy in there and hope this guy comes off good. So we got that guy in there. We're gonna get our big adjustable wrench. Oh, there it goes. Actually wasn't bad at all. There we go. All right, that wasn't actually bad. I expected way more resistance to that. Okay, so we should be able to unscrew this side of our bottom bracket. I lied. We gotta remove the other crank. Okay, we gotta move the other crank. Same process. All right, now we got that side off. The whole thing should come out. There we go. That actually has decent bit of grease in there. Okay. So there we go. There's our old chain guide out of there. These things just... That one's not horrible. That one's pretty bad. So those are getting out of here. We're not using those anymore. Goodbye, chain guide. All right. From there, I'm taking a look at our bottom bracket. It looks okay. So I could have just undid. It must have just been stuck to the side. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to screw this guy back on. And we'll see how this works with nothing in there. So obviously we're getting rid of a little bit of a spacer. So, yep. So that's the problem we're going to run into. So, in my case, I should have some spacers here somewhere. Because we removed that chain guide was, you know, a little bit thick. All right, come back here, chain guide. I'll show you. So, that chain guide was yay thick. So that took up some space from our bottom bracket. So what I have here is a spacer that's about the same. Okay, so we're going to slip this spacer over our guy there. And that should space us out enough so that this should work okay without having to change the whole bottom bracket. Which will probably happen in a future date, but not right now. Don't have a bottom bracket right now. Change of plans. We're doing a whole new bottom bracket on here. So... I'll explain why once I get this guy off. So, this bottom bracket is loose ball bearings. So, just a bunch of ball bearings in there. There's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of older style. I'd rather have something a little more reliable. I happen to have a sealed bearing bottom bracket here. Spins nice and good. This is actually from one of, I think this is from the Poseidon Redwood. And it happens to be the same exact size we need here. So, we're throwing a new bottom bracket in here while we're here too. You would think for a Specialized it would have been a sealed bottom bracket, but it's a kid's bike. So, whatever. We're just going to clean up in here. Alright, so, like I said, spacer goes on top. Just going to space out our bottom bracket yay much. Throw this guy back in there. And remember, drive side is reverse threaded, so... Counterclockwise, tighten. Clockwise, loosen. Spins good? Heck yeah. Alright. Sealed bearing bottom bracket. Installed. Now we gotta put the cranks back on. There we go. Heck yeah. Looks good. Oh, it spins way better than before. Alright. Okay. Chain guide guy. Okay, so this cheap little chain guide I picked up has like a million different ways you can mount this thing. So... Obviously, you have the hole here. This is kind of mounted here. You can loosen that up. You can slide this up or down on the slot. You can move the mounting point down to here so you can mount it up angled more. You can change the angle of the dangle right here. You can pull this out and you can angle this however you want to. There's like a million ways to mount this guy. So we got to figure out how and what is going to work best here. Okay, so back to the chain tensioner. So we got our chain on, derailleur on, everything's all on. So where this was currently is not going to work. The chain has too much movement between here. It actually just rubs on this guy. So we need to move this guy essentially kind of more up in this area somehow. Somehow is the key word. So let's go ahead. So you can see right there it's rubbing. I thought I was going to keep it, but... I would rather have a chain guide on than one of these guys here. Now, we should be able to get this thing on wherever it went and not have to worry about that in the way. And it actually looks cooler, in my opinion. We'll see what she says, but I think this looks better. Stay there, okay. Okay. There's that, and then we got to get this guy up some. Right in there. Okay, okay. This guy tight. Okay. That one should be tight. That one should be tight. Oh, yeah. Okay. See how it works. So, is it rubbing already? Oh, it's rubbing on the front. My bad. Okay. Twist it back a little bit. All right. I think I'm pretty happy with where that is. So there's our lowest gear. And there's our highest gear. There's kind of our middle. And that's covering up the chain enough to keep it on the top. I think that should do the trick. It's not going to let it fall off. Cross fingers. All right, so we got our little chain guide installed on here. Like I said, it's like 10, 15 bucks or something like that. It works. It'll do what it needs to do. And like I said, in the next video, we're going to be redoing the derailleur and the shifter and putting a brand new chain on. So if you want to see the finished product, I'm going to wait for next video and be able to see the finished product, how it all looks. But that guy should do the trick on this bike. Now, personally, if I could, I would have put a narrow wide chain ring up here. Like I said, I don't have a set of cranks that's this short for kids' bikes that would accept a chain ring. So, kind of stuck with what we have right now. We at least did an upgrade to the bottom bracket, which is unexpected, but it works really good for in my case that we now have a sealed bearing bottom bracket. Way better than it was before, so that should be awesome. It's all working out good. Working out good. So realistically, next video, we'll throw on our chain and a new derailleur here and our new shifter. And she should be ready to rip on this bike. It's going to be a blast for her. I think she's going to have a ton of fun on this thing. Wider gearing, chain's going to stay on, less resistance for her, and trigger shifter versus a grip shifter. She's going to be happy. So hopefully you guys learned something from today's video, even though it kind of went all over the place a little bit there. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up. Appreciate the support. Any comments or questions, let me know down in the comment section below. Love talking to you guys. I love answering any questions you guys have. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching today.